Active learning occurs through instructional means that are both physically and intellectually involving. In order for students to gather a much deeper understanding of the material, an active learning environment needs to be promoted. This is a two-way process whereby both teacher and student play an active role in the learning experience. This may be through means of questions asked by students and active feedback provided by lecturers, such as correction and confirmation. According to some members of University of Texas, Dallas, it has been suggested that active learning involves higher order thinking skills, such as reading, writing and problem solving. Unlike active learning, passive learning appears to be a one-way communication where the individual is listening and the lecturer is stating. During this time, the learner is expected to establish the important aspects of the lecture. This type of learning is fine when trying to memorise material, but is not a constructive way in ensuring an in-depth understanding of some complex subject matter.
Often, classes are too large for the lecturer to engage with each student on a one-to-one basis. With lecture hall learning, multiple choice tests are often used to assess acquired knowledge over a period of many weeks. Because these tests occur so infrequently, once or twice in a semester, it allows little chance for the student to receive active feedback to improve their academic skills in the future. With some subjects becoming more popular, for example psychology, class sizes will continue to increase, and most departments will not have the manpower to effectively split these classes into more manageable sizes.
Passive and active attention has been recognised as early as 1980 by William James, suggesting these concepts have been of long-standing interest for over a century. It has been suggested that students who engage in active learning would be more likely to achieve success. One implement that has been recognised for teaching psychology-based concepts is focused interactive learning. Through focused discussion groups within the class, it has been found that this method not only increased test performance but also enhanced student engagement with others. In another study by Yoder and Hokevar, they found that performance was best in multiple choice exams for material that was taught via an active learning strategy as compared to passive learning. One theory is that active learning involves three substages: an input, process and output. The input is the information that is passed through the many senses. Process involves interaction with others, motivating several areas of the brain to act accordingly, and the output is the student response to a given situation. The Bell believed that the process of knowledge acquisition is firmly embedded in the social and emotional context in which learning takes place.
We aim to employ a more active approach to education by introducing multiple means of effective teaching within the classroom. Via multiple means of communication between students and teachers, this includes discussion, both speaking and listening to others, problem solving, and the ability to ask questions, improving both verbal and auditory communication, as well as enhancing thinking skills. This encourages high levels of processing, and thus students will therefore be more likely to retain information over longer durations. By enhancing communication, this in itself may create a more relaxed and open learning environment for the learner, building confidence to engage in effective active learning in the future. The students are exposed to an hour-and-a-half lecture, whereby the lecturer is stating facts via a textbook reference. During this time, no questions are asked by the lecturer towards the audience, and the students are expected to listen carefully and take notes. At the end of the session, we would expect to find that students would have a poor recall of the information presented, and due to the lack of communication between the lecturer and students, there may be confusion about certain aspects of a topic area, and students may be unclear or unsure about the relevant information to which they should have been taking notes. The same class is split into smaller groups for the same lesson period. With active learning, the lecturer circulates the class to help students as they sit around a table and are asked to produce some ideas about the topic. During the session, students are encouraged to ask frequent questions as well as interact with other students in the group. Not only is this type of environment more likely to encourage active learning, but from the perspective of both the student and lecturer, it's a more stimulating way of learning. As the lecturer attempts to get actively involved with the learning process, it may encourage students to ask more questions, and through group activity the students have the opportunity to interact with others, building effective communication skills. It's clear from the presented evidence that a more active approach to education is necessary, particularly with learning that requires deep processing. However, this is neither time nor cost effective and requires more space and people for it to work effectively. This may be the reason why this approach is not commonly implemented, despite the fact it is a recognised successful approach.